Welcome to the Jaybe show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I am your host, James Fauntleroy. So good to see all of you here today on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Today is January 19th, 2025. So good to have all of you joining me on this show today. It's going to be a big show. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get into it. Just to let you guys know, the Jaybe show is every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me back here on RBN on Thursdays for the Sabby and JB show at 5 p.m. on Thursdays. And then you can find me on my own channel, on the JB Font channel, every single Tuesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So it's so good. I'll see all of you here. Please go ahead and give a like if you are in here already. If you like us so far, if you want to wait until we're finished, then you can wait until we're done. So you can either like or dislike whatever you feel like you want to do. So thank you very much for that. Also, if you guys have not already, you guys can go to revolutionaryblackout.substack.com. This gives you email notifications whenever we go live. So you guys have that there as well. Or if you like to, you guys can also email us at revolutionaryblackout@outlook.com. So you guys can submit any stories or words of encouragement to us. We appreciate it very much. If you need to get in contact with us, that's the best way to do so. All right. Now, let's get into the chat and say hello to all the people who are in here. Ooh, it's going to be a day. It's going to be a day. So let's get into the peeps. All right. So we have Killer Tomato says playoff game starts at 2. I wonder what government shenanigans are going to get passed at 2:30. Government shenanigans have already happened, and government shenanigans will continue. We're going to see some more government shenanigans tomorrow, so be prepared. All right. Kenyon Perry says, salute to you, Kenyon Perry. All right. Jace Hart says, hey, Tomato, West Commie here. Where you at? Good to see you as well. Social Emotional Learning with Dr. Donnie says, hey, my peeps, good to see you, Dr. Donnie in the house. Official People's Party USA says, Yes, Official People's Party. Is right. Jacqueline coming in saying, hey, everyone, good to see you, Jacqueline. Joseph coming in saying, yo, what's up? Yo, what's up to you? Good to see you. Robbie Burns coming in saying, shortly, I should think. Good to see you. All right. Who else do we have that I can get to say hello to? All right. We have people on the Rumble side. Nocturnal Human says hello. Hello to you, Nocturnal Human. Priscilla says TikTok is back. Nah, not really, because when you go on there, I'm gonna show on my my phone. Once I show the video, once I see the video, I scroll up, I see another video, I scroll up again, nothing. It does not. It's not back. But a lot of people are thinking that it's back because they pull it up and they see that video playing. But we got to talk about it. We'll get into it. All right. We have Tim Price coming in saying, actually, who is also part of the Orlando chapter, says, actually here for the beginning of the stream. Yes. Thank you so very much for being here. Nice to have you here. All right. Who is also in here? Krista saying, hi, JB. Hello, Krista. Good to see you. Very nice to have you in here. Steve Wolbrandt coming in saying, hello, everybody. Steve coming in hot. Jesus says, gonna listen to you for a while. I practice the drums, noise canceling headphones for the win. Give me a beat. Sorry, I'm in my Janet Jackson mode right now. Oh my goodness. Nasty boys don't mean a thing. Oh, you nasty boys don't mean a thing to me. Nasty. Roger Meadows says, you're not a check DM kind of guy. I see everything I sent since Friday will line up lovely for your next show since I didn't get it in time for this show. Also, you have one more episode to go. You see it. Yeah. A lot. Well, so I have some stories that I want to do on Tuesday for my channel. And so I was going to look at some of the things you sent me for that. And yes, I still have those episodes to go. I have to get to those. So just give me time, Roger. Give me time. But I'll get to them. Thank you very much. Krista says Meta Blackout starts today. A lot of people are talking about just like leaving Meta. Stop using Meta. That means Instagram, Threads, Facebook, all of it. People are talking about using it. I can give my thoughts on it if you want. In fact, let me start that because I think I should give my thoughts on that. But thank you very much. Devin Watts coming in saying, morning, afternoon, JB, hope all is well. Yes, all is doing okay. Jimmy Apples says, hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. All right. Terry Connolly says, TikTok is gone. We got to talk about that too. Ooh, Lord. Lauren says, hey, JB and chatters, good to see you looking quite well, sir. Thank you very much. On the Twitter side, I almost said titter. Jimmy says, bonjour, mon ami. Comment ça va? JW says, what's up, fam? Good to see you, JW. We have Negras Tormentas says, is a fiery heart. All right, good to see you in here. And then let's do a couple more. We have Julie coming in saying, hello, friends. Good to see you, Julie. I got a lot of people coming in today. Mike says, freezing my ass off in Princeton land. Is that Minnesota? Ooh, Minnesota. You're now Danielle. Don't you know? Okay. Good to see you all in here. So let me check on the Rockfin side to see, did anybody say anything? All right. All right. And Jimmy says, Kabakul, your French is good. Thank you so very much. Roger says, save to Rockfin link for TikTok story. Okay. Got it. Thank you very much. All right. So what are we going to be talking about today, people? Let's get into it. We got 4 stories. Not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Like Brubman from the 5th floor. Let's go. I didn't mean for that to rhyme, but hey, what do you know? So we have 4 stories we're going to talk about. Later in the show today, we're going to be talking about Donald Trump. We're going to be talking about Donald Trump. Why is Nelly and Snoop Dogg in the photo? We're going to talk about it because let me tell you something. There's some hypocrisy going on here. Some hypocrisy going on. And then we're also going to talk about TikTok has gone black. This is going to be an interesting conversation. These two are going to be towards the end of the show. Towards the beginning of the show, we're going to be talking about Capital One in trouble. This is a story that a lot of people I didn't hear really talk about, but we got to talk about it because, look, as somebody who's not a fan of the big banks, I think I like to see the big banks in trouble. Some people may think that's concerning, but not for me because, well, they have taken advantage of us long enough. So we're going to talk about that. But the first story is going to be a heavy story we're going to get into. And this is about a homeless person that was essentially killed by the city. We're going to talk about this because I think I want to cover this heavy story first. And as all of you know, housing is very close to my heart, and I want to get into this conversation. So, for any of you who don't want to hear this really heavy story, I understand if you need to step away, if you need to click away, that's okay, right? But this is a heavy story that I think that needs to be brought up to attention. I'm going to share this report and then we'll get into it. Because a lot of people, we don't regard the life of people who are unhoused like we should. They're human beings. And what happened in Atlanta is absolutely deplorable. Let's get into it.
From the city of Atlanta after the man was killed during a homeless encampment cleanup.
Right now, a vigil is set to begin in honor of the man killed yesterday on Old Wheat Street in Atlanta's 4th Ward. You're taking a live look at that vigil right now across from Ebenezer Baptist Church. Housing Justice League, ATL, is calling for faith leaders, organizers, and concerned citizens to all come together. 11 Live's Molly Oak joining us live outside City Hall. So, Molly, tonight we are hearing reaction from the mayor.
Yeah, he's in D.C., but talked with us over Zoom and said he's calling this news heartbreaking, adding that he and his office have reached out to the man's family. A man killed during a homeless encampment cleanup.
And unfortunately, yesterday, an individual in one of our homeless encampments was struck by a vehicle and lost his life. So we've reached out to his girlfriend and some family to be able to offer our condolences and any support that we can have for them.
Atlanta police say officers were called to Old Wheat Street Northeast around noon on Thursday, saying police got a call about a person injured. Police say that man was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead. Atlanta police are now investigating, while the mayor says his office is also looking into this.
Then my heart goes out to that family and the loss of life for that individual. And, you know, as we go about our work to provide safety and to provide housing for the unhoused, we continue to be careful in how we usher them into safety and shelter.
The City of Atlanta Department of Public Works sent us a statement yesterday saying in part that it is aware of the tragic incident involving a DPW vehicle and an unhoused individual. It says the department routinely clears encampments that pose health and public safety concerns, always following days of outreach to connect unsheltered individuals with housing and support services.
Let's stop there for a second, because I want to make this abundantly clear. This shouldn't have happened in the first place. Now, we all know that. But to the people who are new to RBN, to Revolutionary Blackout Network, who are just tuning in for the first time, no human should be homeless within this country. In the richest country in the history of the world, we should not have people who are homeless encampments. And people who say, well, some of these people, they just want to be unhoused. If they wanted to be unhoused, then why do they house themselves in tents? See, people actually want to be housed. It's just the systems that's created around housing that makes it such a burden to be able to get the housing that you need. And so we're going to get into more of the details about this in an article. You notice something, that they never actually spoken the gentleman's name. They never said his name. Let's continue in this. Well, so far, let's continue in this story, and we'll finish it up.
The department added that it is cooperating with the police department's investigation. Now, we have been reaching out to the Department of Public Works to try to get answers to our questions. So far, they have not gone on camera or answered any of our questions that we've sent them. I did just get a very long statement from the mayor's office and from Partners for Home. It does say in part that the first engagement with that encampment began on the week of April 5th, 2024. Guys.
So, no mention of the gentleman's name. No mention of any images of him, anything like that. And it's not going to make national news because he was homeless, because he was seen as other, because he was seen as less than. Also, and people don't think about this variable, but also, he was a man. If this had happened to a child, this would be national news. Even if the child was homeless, this would be national news. If this was a woman, it might make more bigger news. But it was a man, therefore, lost his life, homeless. Not really worth much. This was a life. This was somebody with hopes, dreams, fears, loves, passions. Let's get into this because there was an article and it's more detailed because it's actually worse than what they even said in the media. And I really want to get into this because I think it's absolutely harrowing at the fact that they don't even say the man's name. So there's shot grief after a man is killed during an encampment suite in Atlanta. Let me enlarge this just so that we can read it a little bit better. All right. It says the man's name was Cornelius Taylor, according to his friends and neighbors, but he often went by Psycho. He stayed among the tents at the old Wheat Street in the Auburn Avenue neighborhood near Ebenezer Baptist Church. And if I'm correct, Ebenezer Baptist Church has some affiliations with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., which his birthday is tomorrow. It says the city hasn't confirmed details of what happened on Thursday afternoon. Atlanta police said the homicide unit is investigating. But those still staying along the street Friday afternoon said workers brought their bulldozers through without checking the tents. They bought the real talk. They brought bulldozers. And they didn't bother to check the tents, meaning that their lives meant nothing to any of them. Not to the city of Atlanta, not to the state of Georgia, not to the United States of America. If you're homeless and you're sleeping in a tent and they bring that bulldozer, then prepare to be bulldozed. See, this is why you got to look beyond just corporate media, even local corporate media. You got to listen to the people on the ground, because if you don't, then you won't get the full story. That's why I said it's worse than what they're saying, because they got people they got to protect too, and even in local media. Okay, let's continue. Quote, I was here and nobody warned anybody, not even the people who was doing the job. That was from William Franklin. Sylvia Broom, who does outreach in the neighborhood with the nonprofit Remerge, held back tears as she revisited the street Friday afternoon. She said she'd known Taylor for several years. She said he had a good heart and liked to draw. So that's Sylvia Taylor. She said she just learned this week that she was talking with him about his upcoming plans. He had dreams, ambitions. He had family. He was a good friend of mine, and he's gone. She called for the city to conduct a full investigation into what went wrong. Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens said that the statement that he is saddened by the incident. He has said that the city will review its procedures so it doesn't happen again. He says, I care deeply about each and every life in this city, Dickens said in a statement. I call bullshit. I call complete bullshit. Because if you actually cared about the people in your city, homelessness would have been eradicated instead of you cutting taxes for the rich within Atlanta, instead of you trying to, help build cop cities so that they continue to harass and oppress the unhoused and Black and brown people within your city. You don't care. You're bullshitting us. And here is a moment. This is why we need to be involved in liberatory practices, especially as Black Americans, because if you don't, you will start imitating the very oppressors that have been on our necks, and you start imitating them by doing the same thing to your own damn people, to your own damn class. This is the issue. I don't believe him. Do you? Says, according to Partners for Home, the nonprofit charged with leading the city's homelessness strategy, outreach workers have been visiting the encampment since April of last year. She said 21 people had been connected with shelter or housing. CEO Kathleen Vessel also said she was deeply saddened by the tragic event. Our focus remains on helping individuals experiencing homelessness and find stable housing and access to resources they need. Funny part is, a lot of times when you have these NGOs, these non-governmental organizations that are tasked with trying to help people find housing, a lot of times, a lot of the money, and I'm not saying this is indicative particularly of this organization, but you see a lot that happens within many of these organizations is that they get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and then a lot of the money actually goes up to the people who are at the top of the organization. And so then when it comes to actually helping the people on the ground, not much is really done because they have to keep the people on the ground so that NGO keeps operating. Because if you get rid of homelessness, what happens to the NGO? The NGO goes away. Their job is no longer relevant. They have to have an incentive in order to keep that NGO, which means that homelessness has to exist. See how capitalism operates? That's the horrible part. Let's continue. Along Oak Wheat Street, Taylor's former neighbors were still in shock at what took place. Anthony Richardson said he was just lucky he wasn't around at the time of the encampment sweep. He said, I was devastated because I was right behind him. If I was there, it could have been me. So let's take a look at this other article as well. Let me share this. Sorry, this is refreshing for some reason. Okay. It says man killed during cleaning of homeless encampment near Ebenezer Baptist Church. So it says the CEO of Hosea Helps, a nonprofit organization dedicated to serving the homeless, is speaking out following the death of a man during the incident on Old Wheat Street near Ebenezer Baptist Church. Activists and people in Atlanta homeless community gathered to help a vigil at the site where a man experiencing homelessness was killed in an incident with the Atlanta City Public Works truck. It says, according to the City of Atlanta Department of Public Works, the man and a city vehicle were involved in an incident around noon on Thursday. According to official crews, were working to clear a homeless camp in the area. Our department routinely clears homeless encampments, so we already went through that part. It says he later died at the hospital. It says witnesses at the camp and homeless outreach group like Hosea Helps tell Fox 5, a garbage truck ran over the man as he slept in his tent. I'm going to repeat that. A garbage truck ran over the homeless man as he was asleep in his tent. That was somebody's son. That was somebody's brother, uncle, nephew, father. If this had happened to somebody that was wealthy, affluent, this would be national news. This would be all over. But the fact that this person was homeless, we don't give it much attention. Because in the world of capitalism in America, some lives are worth more than others. Do you think that's right? And don't give me that it just is what it is. No, 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 no. We can create and shift the culture in this country to be more humane. Why aren't we doing our best to change it? We can change it. You're living in a country where we used to have open chattel slavery. Now it's behind closed doors. But we did shift things. Don't you think we can shift it further? Let's continue. So, of course, there was another man that was right behind him. He said city crews did announce they were coming in to clear away the tents, but also says the victim was asleep at the time. We could hear him snoring. They knew he was there. They knew. People knew he was there. Homeless camp death investigation says after numerous requests from Fox 5, officials also so far would not reveal exactly what happened. Just talking about how this is an open investigation, right? It says the tragic event where the garbage truck ran over a homeless man right across from Ebenezer Baptist Church, next to the sacred grounds of Dr. King's gravesite, screams of systemic failure to value human life, especially the most vulnerable among us. Tomorrow is Dr. King's birthday. He led the Poor People's Campaign. And within days before his birthday, a homeless man sleeping in a tent right near his grave was crushed, bulldozed over by a garbage truck. And you mean to tell me that this system is sustainable? This is why RBN exists. This is why we exist in independent media. Because we've got to change this country on a fundamental level. I'm going to be honest with you, it's not going to happen peacefully. It's not. You have to wrestle the reins of power away from these corporations. And in that wrestling, you understand what I'm saying? This should not exist in this country. This is what is freaking out Chinese people on the Red Note app when they're finding out that this stuff happens in this country. We thought this was the land of milk and honey. We thought that this was the land of opportunity. And yet you guys are crushing homeless people with garbage trucks. No wonder why. No wonder why our rates of depression and unhappiness are so high. And now think of the family of Cornelius. Think about his family right now. And I'm gonna tell you guys a variable that a lot of people don't think about. Okay, so a lot of times people will go, well, why didn't his family help? Do you know how hard it is to help out a family member, especially when you're of little means yourself and your family member's homeless? How many people who live in an apartment right now where they can't even take in their family member, because if they were to take in their family member and the apartment complex or the leasing managers found out that you have your homeless family member staying with you, guess what's going to happen? That you're all going to get kicked out. So then you're risking having, instead of one person homeless, 2, 3, 4, 5 people homeless. That's the system. And there's many of us who have family members that are homeless out here, that are sleeping on couches, sleeping on floors, sleeping in their cars because they don't have it. And then we're powerless to help them because we're barely making it ourselves. And then to find out that your family member who was sleeping in a tent was crushed by a garbage truck near a church where Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is buried. Do not let your anger consume you, but let it radicalize you and push you into action to change the system, because that's exactly what we need to happen. And so I needed to talk about this story because, number one, most people are not talking about this. I don't hear a lot of people in independent media talking about the story, number one. I hope you do. If you're an independent media, I hope you cover this story. Number two, a lot of people are not going to humanize Cornelius and who he was. This was a man with hopes and dreams. He loved to draw. He had aspirations. And his life was snuffed out. All because they wanted to clean up the area. Because it's an eyesore. And they'll talk about how it's unsanitary. Well, you know what make it sanitary is actually if you take all the people and you house them. That's what will make it sanitary. But you don't want to do that. No. Because to them, their lives matter less. This is a city run by Democrats. A city run by Democrats. You see why we say both parties are trash? Oh, we're going to get into that even more today. Both parties are trash. Both. I said what I said. Go cry to your mama about it. So, rest in peace, Cornelius Taylor. And I hope people remember you. I hope more people will remember you and remember the life that you lived and celebrate that life. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. I know that was heavy, but we had to, prioritize. Thank you very much for that. All right, so let's go into the chats. I'm gonna check to see if we have any Rumble rants first, and then we're gonna get into the Rock Bin. Yes, we do have a Rumble rant, so let's get into that. Okay, so this Rumble rant is for the next segment, but I'll read it anyway, and then we'll come back to it later. Thank you very much. The Nocturnal Human says, what's your thoughts on Redbook? I never use TikTok, so I probably won't use Redbook. Russell from Due Dissident said they might stream there exclusively when he goes to China. Yeah, I'm going to give my thoughts on Redbook. I just wanted to make sure I read it already, this Rumble rant, but I will address this when we get to the TikTok story. But just, hang on to that Nocturnal Human. But thank you very much for this Rumble rant. But I do have my thoughts. Appreciate it very much. Okay. Let's go into... Hold on. All right, let me go to... Oh, I didn't open up the Rumble yet. I'll get to that right now. All right. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. So, Roger says, I just finished watching Savvy's recorded interview with Jessica Burbank, and she said her uncle, who was homeless, was struck and killed in California. I wonder if this was her uncle. No, this was in Atlanta, Georgia. Hemcar says America is killing its own people, and he's not being charged with murder, like what the IDF did to Rachel Corrie. Maybe his family members has like him, like the man, like I Am the Man march of the Southern Christian Leadership Conference did. After that garbage truck worker was crushed in the 60s. Imagine if they had handed out free soap and showers. Whose city would be cleaner? Subway stores, if they really cared about people, stopping things like the pandemic. Thank you very much for that, hemp card. My thing is, I think the family should sue the city. I think they should sue in a wrongful death lawsuit, because this was a life. I personally think that if I were the family, I would be suing. I would sue the pants off of Atlanta. The city would know the name of Cornelius Taylor. They would know. You guys literally murdered in cold blood my family member. Nope, I'm not letting that go. That is a lawsuit right there. Nope. I'd be pursuing that. Let's go to the rest of the chat here. Just checking to see if we have any super chats in here. I think we're good there. Okay. Dawood Ali, the So Sage podcaster, says RIP Paradise to the fallen in Atlanta. Thank you very much for that. Joan says they legit were pretending it didn't happen until people started posting about it on Outscoop. If it wouldn't have been posted on social media, we wouldn't have known about it. Wow. Thank you very much for that, Joan. Appreciate it. JW says, long live Cornelius Taylor. Yes, absolutely. Thank you, Jacqueline. Says, sounds from the news report that the media and the mayor cared more about the PR situation than the man, Cornelius Taylor, who died. Yes, say his name, Cornelius Taylor. Mitsunagi says, I wouldn't describe a bulldozer as a vehicle, it's heavy machinery. That's true. Jimmy says, America makes homelessness a capital offense. Yep. Danny says, management is going to push all the blame down on the workers for this horrible incident. Yes, and to me, the blame goes all the way to the top. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. The right thing would be for the mayor to resign over this, because that's literally, he literally, gave the orders for this to happen and a man died. But he won't. Anna Ringwald says late stage fascism. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, John Tijerna. This is a very horrific story, but a lot of times people don't hear about this stuff, and we need to know that when this stuff happens, it's absolutely necessary for us to see this, not to see it, but to know that this is what this system does to the most vulnerable people. Zaldivar says horrifying. Absolutely. Yes, Lauren says that man should have not been killed. He should have been cared for. Island Vibe says the city is liable. Absolutely. I agree. I honestly think that there should be a lawyer that should step up for the family and say, look, this needs to be handled. Ram says Super Mario Brothers is looking better all the time. Mario and his brother. Right? Itsunagi says, but JB, middle class tax collection shattering the glass ceiling and protecting democracy. What good is protecting democracy if you can't protect the people? Especially protecting the people from the homelessness and hunger and lack of education and a planet that's literally burning. Like, what good is it if you can't give people the material conditions that they need in order to survive, in order to have life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness? It's just words. All right, so let's go into first, before I get into that, I just want to share a bit of what I did yesterday. So yesterday I went to two events. One event was in regards to real actual feminists on the ground that were talking about the Palestinian movement, right? Florida Palestine Network, the FPN, they had an event yesterday where they were discussing really the power of women who are pushing forward the liberation of Palestine. And I just want to say that it was an honor to be there among all those comrades that were talking about liberation of Palestine. And, you know, it really means that it's not just a feminist movement where it's just on the surface level. It's about material conditions and actually having a free Palestine, right? And this reminds me of a lot of Black feminists that actually used liberatory action in order to push for what we absolutely need on a material level so that the oppression and suppression is, you know, pushed away. And so I just want to give a shout out to Rasha Mubarak for the work that you did yesterday, and for all the people, all the panelists that were from Students in Justice in Palestine to Real Orlando, People's Free Kitchen. All of you guys have did an amazing job in speaking about it. And one of the things that I want to bring out that was said that I think is absolutely important is that in order for us to really change the system, a working class unity needs to happen. And in order for that working class unity needing to happen, we're going to have to unite with people who we have some disagreements with. Now, here's the thing. Some people are marginalized communities are going to say, you want us to unite with races and stuff like that? I'm like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, let's say, for instance, you have somebody that has anti-Black views, but they're suffering because of healthcare. Now, are we going to look at them and say, you know what, you gotta have anti-Black views, screw you, I'm not standing with you when it comes to healthcare? The thing is that when it comes to fighting for healthcare, we're fighting for everybody. Now, at the same time, you damn be sure I'm going to protect the people around me who are marginalized if that person's around. See what I mean? It's like, we don't tolerate that shit, right? Anything that's transphobic, homophobic, xenophobic, anything that's misogynistic, misandrist, right? We're not going to tolerate any type of bigotry. But at the same time, we're going to fight for your right to have healthcare, housing, education, food, clean water, all these different things. Because we're all in this together. So it's just like somebody who is on a boat with us. I'm not going to allow you to harm other people on the boat while it's sinking. But you're helping us get on that lifeboat. You're damn sure going to help us get on that lifeboat. Your life's going to be saved too, but you're not going to harm anybody. Because I'll be willing to throw you off the boat if I need to. See what I mean? Or I wouldn't. You'll be waking up by the time we get to where we need to go, in order for me to make sure that the people also with me that are marginalized aren't harmed. But that's the thing, right? Is that once they start to see that people that look like me, that are willing to make sure that they're okay, also minds start to change too. And so I just want to give a big shout out to all the people who spoke there. Also, there was a zine event zine being short of magazine. And Real Orlando actually had an event last night. They gave out this zine here. Make sure it doesn't glare. It says, peace, land, and bread. To be rich is glorious. This was actually a zine event that was authored by 4 comrades, Georgie, Albizu, Kit, and Clifford. And these actually go into one about war, and one the first article is titled War, War, War. The second one is titled Scared Money Don't Make Money. Okay. So just to go over just a little bit into War, War, War. I'll read this paragraph. It says, imperialism, as we understand it, came into being when capitalists broadly, but more specifically, the American economy, could not survive without an empire behind it. Capitalism's success is measured by its economic growth, by dollar signs, by the amount of profit corporations squeeze from the average person's pocket by the end of the year. It must be measured this way. When businesses default, they collapse. When stocks crash, so do the entire economy. The system demands money, but money cannot be made without a commodity, and a commodity cannot be produced without resources. Resources then must be constantly extracted. One country, however, can only extract from so much before it is no longer feasible, and many countries don't have the natural resources necessary for the functioning of their daily lives. When a country reaches a certain level of industrialization and resource extraction, when the economy begins to stagnate, when the heart from which they squeeze blood becomes a stone, they must set their sights on what is not theirs. The oil of Iraq, the cobalt of Congo, the bananas of Central America. These all become legitimate targets of empire. And because the oligarchs want their system to survive, they will take them by any means necessary. In the case of the United Fruit Company, an American business now known as Chiquita, they rely on hired militias and official American military personnel to maintain control of the Panama Canal and Latin American food production. So that was from Georgie, titled War, War, War. This one is Scared Money Don't Make Money. And yes, that is Tupac Shakur on there. Scared Money Don't Make Money. He starts off with, this is from Albizu. He says, therefore, it must be understood that the fight for economic development isn't just a petty pursuit of materialistic gain. It is how we come to be human. There is a kind of feedback loop when the micro individual and the macro social whole. A nation with dismantled industries sustained through robbery and usury is fundamentally insecure. Our wealth is tricked off to the tune of billions on Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel, while decaying infrastructure and economic rot in turn is being internalized by the people. Consequently, a lack of dignity plagues Americans of all different backgrounds with no alternatives, no future, and no means to come up in this world. We turn to drug use, hedonism, and nihilism. In the world's most prosperous country, we struggle to make sense of our despondent conditions. Left and right theoreticians failing in their attempts. I am reminded of the words of the legendary rapper and card-carrying member of the Communist Party, Tupac Shakur. Somebody got to explain why I ain't got shit. And so this is Albizu's article about scared money don't make money. And then this one's from Kit, not Kit Cabello, but this is a different Kit. It says the ruling class, in its own words, says neither party will save us. It talks about the Democratic Party, says let's examine the top fundraiser of the Democratic Party. Michael Bloomberg, who was their top donor, giving $43 million to them in the past year, though he made sure to hedge his bets with $1 million to the Republican Party. His companies never cover everything from financial data through Bloomberg Terminal to news media through Bloomberg News. And he is the chair of the Defense Innovation Board, which explicitly states its goal to helping the Department of Defense ensure U.S. technological and military dominance. Their second largest funders are Dustin Mickovitz and his wife, Carrie Tuna, who donated $38 million in the most recent election. Moskowitz co-founded Facebook and later Asana Inc., a work management tool used by Amazon, Uber, Google, PayPal, and many other massive corporations. Reed Garrett Hoffman, who donated $26 million to the Democratic Party and $400,000 to the Republican Party in the last election, co-founded LinkedIn and oversees the venture capital firm Village Global, as well as Infection AI. Venture capital, social media, tech companies, and news corporations are the top capitalist interests that fund the Democratic Party, whose opposition on these issues reflect their wishes. And then it goes into the Republican Party as well, and how they cross-pollinate when it comes to their money and how they fund both parties. Same people will fund both parties. So that one from there. And then the final article in this from Cliff talks about bleeding heart cutting edge, and talks about how the idea that capitalism has lifted millions of from poverty is often presupposed as self-evident truth, while often substantiated with data or anecdotal bleeding heart success stories from overexploited communities or global south. The proponents of this idea are always ignored the genocides, colonial conquests, and economic exploitation of capital that created the widespread poverty to begin with. In reality, socialism fulfills the promises of capitalist propaganda and the American dream. The promises of capitalism are lies plagiarized from the observable lived realities under socialism. The 2004 credit card debt has grown from $279 billion to $1.08 trillion. Reserve consumer loans, credit cards, and other revolving plans, all commercial banks, 2024. Healthcare debt has risen to at least $220 billion in 2021, and student loan has grown from $520 billion to over $1.7 trillion from 2006 to 2023. And so these articles in this zine are wonderful, because the thing is, really what they're talking about is that we deserve not just to have healthcare, housing, education, and all these things, but we deserve the best housing. We deserve the best food. We deserve the best education. We deserve the best of everything just by virtue of us being human. Everybody, and this is what Albizu said last night, every single person deserves a Gucci belt. Every person deserves an Hermes bag. Every person deserves, in my words, Christian Louboutin shoes. We all deserve the best because we are all deserving of it by virtue of being human beings. So it's not just, oh, we're socialists and we have to live a miserly life. No, baby. No. We live in America. We deserve to own the means of production and also give ourselves as workers the best of the best. And so that was some of the thoughts that were reflected last night. And I just want to say thank you to Real Orlando. Real is an acronym for Revolutionary Education Action Lead. And they invited me over to their zine, their 7th zine rollout. So that was beautiful. And I had many great conversations with that too. So we're going to move on to the next topic. And then I also have an announcement to make before our final segment, but I wanted to bring that out. And shout out to Real Orlando, People's Free Kitchen, who are doing the damn thing by having their farm and also feeding people on the ground here in Orlando, Florida, and allowing us at the Orlando chapter to collaborate with you guys in order to do more mutual aid on the ground here too. So thank you so very much for being comrades of comrades. A comrade's comrade. So thank you so much to all of you. All right, so let's get into the next story here. We're going to get into Capital One in trouble. So this is going to be a story that I want to get into. I hate the banks. I cannot stand them. Why? Because these are the paragons as to why we are going through the shit that we're going through in this country right now. And the reason why is because they want to extract as many resources as they can away from us. They view us as pawns in order to be able to enrich themselves, to grow themselves. So it's no surprise that when I see these banks get their comeuppance, I'm clapping. And I think you should too. Because ultimately, what has happened with companies like Capital One, it should be a wake-up call. Of course, they're not going to wake up, but they're definitely going to get put on notice. So I want to share this article here. So it says Capital One sued cheated customers out of $2 billion. So let's get into this. The Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has filed suit against Capital One for allegedly misleading customers about its high interest savings accounts. The suit, filed on Tuesday, alleged customers were cheated out of more than $2 billion in interest through Capital One's flagship 360 savings accounts. The accounts were advertised as having the nation's best and highest interest rates, but instead were frozen at the lowest level even as rates rose nationwide. While rates were frozen, Capital One created 360 performance savings accounts that saw higher growth at one point, paying more than 14 times higher interest than the 360 savings. But the product was not openly offered to many customers. Capital One did not specifically notify 360 savings account holders about the new product, and instead worked to keep them in the dark about the better paying accounts. It says, for example, Capital One named and marketed the two products similarly. It eliminated nearly all references to the 360 savings account product on its website and replaced them with references to the essentially identical 360 performance savings account, with notice that 360 savings continue to exist as a distinct product. So basically what we're looking at here, people, is a bait and switch. It's a tale as old as time within these corporations, right? The fact that they said, oh, we're going to give you this big, beautiful thing. And then next thing you know, items in this picture are not as large as shown, right? You see those burgers, right, in the advertisements, or you see a product in the advertisement and it looks really nice and big, but by the time you get it in the mail or by the time you buy it, it looks itty bitty bitty, or it looks all smushed up. Same thing, right? So they cheated people out of their money. $2 billion worth. Let's continue. It says Capital One told the Associated Press it disagreed with the allegations and was deeply disappointed to see that the CFPB continued its recent pattern of filing 11th-hour lawsuits ahead of change in administration. And it says add that its banking products have always been available in just minutes to all new and existing customers without any of the usual industry restrictions. The agency is seeking civil penalties and financial relief for impacted customers. So this is this suit, $2 billion, and the feds went after them. And so when it comes to banks like Capital One, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, a lot of these financial institutions, TD Bank, what have you, their goal is to extract as much money from you as possible without actually dealing fairly. If they could deal as least fairly as possible, they're willing and eager to do it. And in doing so, something happened once they filed this lawsuit, which I thought was kind of peculiar. And I want to get into this. Something happened with people's accounts. Capital One outage drags into second day, leaving some customers without deposit access. What? So let's get into this. It says an outage affecting Capital One customers dragged into a second day Friday, further preventing some customers from accessing deposits, payments, and transfers. On Thursday, the bank said that the technical issue was the result of a glitch with a third-party vendor. The vendor, Fidelity Information Services, FIS, based in Jacksonville, Florida, released a statement saying local power outage had affected a data center that was critical to various applications. On Friday, FIS said it had restored access to the applications and was working with impacted clients to post transactions that occurred while systems were offline. Most of all of that work will be completed by Friday. That's what the company has said. In an email to customers late Thursday, Capital One said it had expected the majority of issues to be resolved by Friday morning. Yet, according to downdirector.com, there were still hundreds of reports of issues as of 9 p.m. Eastern time on Friday. It says on social media, Capital One acknowledged that the issues were ongoing, with one bank representative telling X-User it continued to work around the clock to restore full functionality as soon as possible. The issues at Capital One offer Citibank acknowledged a problem affecting customers' ability to access their accounts from mobile devices, as well as an apparent issue related to fraud alerts. It's not clear where FIS was also involved in the Citi outage. Earlier this month, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau sued Capital One, alleging it misled customers about the savings account offerings. Capital One has denied the allegations. Now, it's kind of funny and ironic. Not ironic. It's suspicious that they're getting sued by the CFPB, and then after that, then now it's like, oh, well, sorry, you guys can't access your money in these bank accounts. Oh, there was a power outage. Sorry, it's not us. Do we look like Boo Boo the Fool to you? I'm saying this to myself. We all need to leave these banks and start going to credit unions, because these guys are not here for us. They never were here for us. These banks are basically just top-down financial institutions that are looking to extract as many resources from you as possible. It's the same thing, when it comes to our jobs, where we have top-down and they try to extract as much work from you as possible while paying you as little as possible, while extracting your surplus value. This is why we, as socialists and communists, we believe that workers should own the means of production. In like-mindedness, when it comes to our financial institutions, we believe that the shareholders or the stakeholders within a financial institution should also, collectively own, right, the financial institution, which is what essentially what a credit union is. It's really that the ownership, the stakeholders are all owners of the financial institution collectively. So when it comes to, your financial institution where you do your banking, where you hold your money, I honestly do implore anybody and everybody to start going to, to credit unions, because these banks are going to do some nefarious shit when things go down. They are. Be prepared, because that's what's going to happen. And I just want you guys to you know, keep keep your eye open. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what they're going to be doing. So yeah, stay vigilant. Move your funds. Move your funds whenever you possibly can. And don't trust these banks as far as you can throw them. And you know what? I had a video that I want to share. I got a little bit of time. Let me share this too, because I want to make sure that I get this out here too. Because somebody also talks about this very same story. Let me see. This person gives kind of a synopsis. And you know what? I like it. All right, so let me share this and then we'll end with this.
Late in the midnight hour, the CFPB woke up with money on their mind. Our money. Woke up this morning at 9:40 and filed a long lawsuit against Capital One for $2 billion. Go on, give me our stuff. Go on, get our money, CFPB. Go on, get our money. If you opened, listen to what I'm telling you. It don't matter if you put something in it. If you opened or have currently, or it was closed, a 360 savings account with Capital One Bank, this is for you. Keep listening. Basically, Capital One came out with a 360 savings account and they marketed it as a high yield savings account. High yield savings account is basically a bank account. You're putting your money in, you're saving your money, but you're getting an interest rate paid to you for carrying your money in that account, whatever the case may be, right? Regular banks don't give you nothing. They give you 0.001. Capital One advertised in April 2022 that they were going to give 4.35%. That is actually a great percent and almost hard to get nowadays. I have an account that has a 5.6. It's unheard of. So when you hear these kind of interest rates, everyone will move their money over there, believing that they're going to get a 4.35. In short, what Capital One did is they did that as an entry, and then they changed it to a 0.3. So all these people moved their money, kept their money there, whether you put money in there or not, opened the account to try to put their money in there. And then what they did is they didn't change the name from 360 Savings. They changed the name from 360 Savings. They kept that as an account, but then they also changed it to 360 Performance Savings. Basically, a whole different account getting way less interest. And y'all basically cheated and robbed all these people out of the interest they should have got. So they coming to get the interest that we should have got, even if we shouldn't have got it. Go file a claim.
Oops, sorry. If you have money in that, you go file your claim. Don't let them keep that money. Get yourself in that class action lawsuit. Get yours. All right. Because a lot of these people, they're gonna try to keep it as much as possible. Anywho, stay vigilant out there. Don't trust these corporations with your money like that. Go ahead and give a like to the stream. Thank you so very much. Let's go into the chats. I'm gonna go see about a Rumble rant, another Rumble rant. Okay. Yep, we got another one. Let's get into that, and then we shall get into the Rockman. Thank you very much. So Jimmy Apple says, I feel like there's a better name for it though, like phasmocracy or democism. I don't know. We should try to come up with a word. I mean, we can try. Thank you to this next one. Jimmy Apple says, we will never build a second party if we continue to allow the money party to divide us over social issues, including an individual holding ignorant, racist ideas. Agreed. All right. So Thank you very much. Let's go into the rock bin. Look into the rock bin. Look into the rock bin. The rock bin to your heart. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Oh boy. Roger says, Jay, I have to update my numbers. You said 1.08 trillion credit card debt, but I got 1.17 trillion credit card debt. You got a link to that or screenshot that pamphlet and DM me. Okay. We missed our chance to break up the Wall Street banks in 2009, hoping Attorney General Holder would enforce antitrust law. Now it'll be up to us to do so. A network of public banks and state, local level starves WS out of our taxes going to them. What's WS? Sorry, I'm kind of lost on that one. It says prop them up as your money stays home in your state, and if state public bank community, if local public bank. Jay, you said credit unions and local community banks. Well, public banks replace FDIC as an insurer. Banks need to be insured, but FDIC is only needed if your bank crosses state lines, which credit unions and local rarely does. Yeah. And then this article about North Dakota population reaches record high. Okay, thank you for that. And then North Dakota about the surging population record growth. Yeah, and they also have a public bank too, which I say is pretty awesome. Oh, Wall Street equals Wall Street. Okay, my bad. Thank you very much for that, Roger. Yeah, and I'll share these links in the chat. But yeah, North Dakota has a public bank. They've had a public bank for, gosh, what, over 100 years now? Something like that. And a lot of people just, they don't realize that. Like, I'll share that. And then we'll get into the other chats here. Yeah, Roger says June 1919. Yeah. Yeah, so it's been 106 years, almost 106 years. So imagine what we could do if we actually had public banks. China has public banks. You know what I'm saying? Like, see what they're doing. See what they're doing for their people. And I think if Savvy actually researched this, the top 5 banks in the world, like one of them is American and the other 4 are all Chinese. Nationally owned Chinese banks. So we need public banks, you know. And the thing is that it has to be wrestled from corporate control. It needs to be owned by the public. But yeah. All right, so let's go to the rest of the chat here. So thank you very much for this. JW says, love you, Jay. Great show, my dude. Thank you very much. Love you back. NK says, I got my RBN sticker and postcard from Patreon subscription and the other day. Thanks for all RBN does. Thank you very much for that, NK. Appreciate it. Christian says, JB, Dr. King said it is best taking away from the majority to accommodate the few. Wishing you and RBN family nothing but good things in 2025. It is best to take away from the majority to accommodate the few. Isn't that reverse? Take away from the few to accommodate the majority? I wonder what in what context he was saying that. Okay. Let me know. Thank you very much for that comment as well. Let's go into here. Okay. Taraj says, yeah, we got to come together. I have much more hope Trump will help the working classes than any president in my lifetime. I'm almost ashamed I didn't vote for him even after Kennedy joined him. I agree with the part where we have to come together. I do disagree with Trump helping the working class. The reason why is because Trump is no different than Joe Biden. He's no different than Kamala Harris. He just says the right things in order to make you think that. But in reality, Trump was on his way to continue to tear the economy apart. It's just the pandemic happened, right? Towards the end. And people will say, well, Trump would, our economy was better, right? We could afford things more. But you could also afford things more when Obama was president, too. Things were even cheaper when Obama was president. And things were even cheaper when George W. Bush was president. And then things were even cheaper when Bill Clinton was president. So it's really just a progression of time over things becoming more expensive and then inflation compounding more. And so when it comes to people like Donald Trump, right? Like his tax cuts, which were like the Bush tax cuts, gave and dumped more money into the billionaires. And then people like Joe Biden kept most of Donald Trump's tax cuts in place. And then now, of course, Donald Trump's going to do more tax cuts for the wealthy, but who's going to have to offset that? It's going to be us. So in reality, he does not care about us. He just is better at faking it than some others. And his goal is really to prop up his rich friends the same way Kamala Harris, her goal was to pop up her rich corporate masters. And ultimately, I'm going to be honest with you, tomorrow is the inauguration of Elon Musk, not Donald Trump. That's what's happening tomorrow. It's an unofficial rulership of a billionaire, because you got to remember, these billionaires, they own Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not, he's not really running shit. But yeah. Let me see. Jimmy says banks also create an unnatural stopgap between workers and owners who steal their labor. Yep. Let me see. Huey says nothing will change until we organize and have a revolution. Thank you very much. Sispian says seizing the means of production is the only way forward. Preaching to the choir. And then Rondo says, is that what you're going with? An outage? Right? It doesn't make any damn sense to me. And Ogre says that people will never see a penny. The government will hoard it all for the trouble of suing Capital One. I wish you were wrong. I wish. Carlos G on the Twitter sides, with the incoming administration, they want less regulation and will get rid of the Consumer Protection Agency. And then how many people will actually get any type of recompense for when these corporations screw them over? All right, so let's go into the next story. We're going to go into the Donald Trump story. So let's go into this. Donald Trump, his inauguration preview tomorrow. So Donald Trump's inauguration is going to be tomorrow at noon, and it's not going to be outside. It is going to be within the Capitol Rotunda because of inclement weather that's going to be happening. Now, I don't think this is the first time this has ever happened. They've had it inside before because of inclement weather. But, of course, this still doesn't change anything for the most part. Of course, right now, there are many people who are protesting outside, who are protesting the inauguration of Donald Trump, just like they protested Donald Trump's inauguration back in 2017 in January. But this time, of course, is going to be indoors instead. I remember that, white person going, no, it's like so dramatic. But it's quite interesting to see. And my thoughts are Donald Trump is going to show his whole ass even more than he did in 2016. And what I mean by that is he wanted to make it seem like that he would actually fight for the working man and woman, really, the what he called the forgotten man and woman. But in reality, he has no incentive to do that now, because now that by tomorrow at noon, he will be officially a lame duck president, meaning that there's no more political accolades that he needs to get into. Once he's gotten the presidency done and over with, he doesn't really need to run for anything else. He doesn't need to impress anybody with anything else. He doesn't need to schmooze the American people anymore. So therefore, what's going to happen is he's going to do what he's going to want to do for the people that he's buddies with. And then once he does all that, then he's like deuces. And honestly, it's not going to be for the working people. Donald Trump is really just going to do, what Kamala Harris was going to do, but just from a more socially right-wing angle. And so it's kind of funny as to there's now people that are kissing the ring, it looks like to me. More people are now coming together in order to say, all right, Trump, you got us. We'll kiss the ring. We're not gonna fight against you that much anymore, which really means that the bipartisanship is at work. And whenever we say bipartisanship, it's really both parties coming together to screw you over. So let me share this. The one person that everybody was behind a few years ago is now kissing the ring. Bernie Sanders, what are you saying? Donald Trump campaigned in 2024 as an anti-establishment populist prepared to take on the political class and act on behalf of working families. When Trump is prepared to move forward in that direction, I will gladly support him. When he does not, I will vigorously oppose him. Bernie Sanders, here's Bernie Sanders calling him a populist. I'm sorry, what? People are saying that, Bernie Sanders is trying to not rock the boat too much so that if he needs to meet with Trump, he could possibly sway things in a more pro-worker direction, but it's not going to work. Because did it work with Joe Biden? No. And you got to remember, Joe Biden talked about how he was the most pro-worker president. Here's the funny part. Trump is a boss. And by being a boss, he actually hates the workers even more than Joe Biden does. And Joe Biden doesn't like workers. Just look at the real workers union, right? Look at what he did with that. Do you think that Donald Trump would do anything different? Come on now. The same guy that cheated workers, you know, when he had his own businesses? No. But I find it ironic as somebody like Bernie Sanders would actually ultimately say that he was an anti-establishment populist. Well, he campaigned as an anti-establishment populist, when in reality, he's not. And he said when Trump is prepared to move forward in that direction, I'll gladly support him. The thing is, it's like Trump will never move in that direction. He's there for the exploitation of the people, no more differently than a Kamala Harris would be. And the thing is I want people to make this abundant. I want to make this abundantly clear, is that people like a Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, they will always say the things that will tickle your ears until it's time for the rubber to meet the road. Because ultimately, they say the things that tickle your ears so that you cheer for them and you put in your votes for them. But then when it comes time for actual material policies that will actually affect your daily life, it will not happen for you. It's going to happen for the billionaires. It's going to happen for the ultra rich. It's a big club and you ain't in it. And in that big club are now some rappers. Let's get into it, people, because I want to share this as well. I saw this. I said, oh, are you kidding me right now? It's happening. Let's start off with Nelly, right? Nelly, hey, must be the money. Apparently it is. So Nelly is going to be, he's going to be, and has and will be a part of the festivities for Trump's inauguration. So I just want to get into this because Nelly's saying that he's not doing it for money. He could have fooled me. Let's get into it, y'all.
I thought you was riding with me because I put on for my city and I try to bring my city up every step of the way. I did not know you was riding with me because you thought I would ride for who you voted for. I didn't know that. I apologize. I apologize. I didn't know that I had to agree with your political choices. And I thought it was the things that you do, not the things that you say should be done. If you follow what I do, this shouldn't even be an argument. He's the president. He won. This isn't a campaign. This isn't an RNC. I'm not out on the political campaign. I didn't get none of that 1.5. You see what I'm saying? Like to try to help somebody get voted.
Kamala didn't invite you to
No. She didn't invite me.
She didn't invite me either, man. I was going to do all at home.
Like,
Oop. Sorry, guys. Oh, it started back up again. All right, damn. What in the world?
To bring my city up every step of the way. Somebody get voted.
Kamala didn't invite you to
No. She didn't invite me.
She didn't invite me either, man. I was going to do all at home.
Like, so, but I don't knock the ones that did. I don't knock the brothers and sisters that benefited from it. I don't knock the correspondents that may have gotten money to do that. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because it's an honor. I respect the office. It don't matter who is in office. The same way that our men and women, our brothers and sisters who protect this country, have to go to war and have to put their life on the line for whoever in office.
It's comparing yourself to the soldiers. Like, nah, Nelly, bro. No. And here's my thing. It's like the artists and things like that. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. I would be saying the same thing that if he were performing with Kamala Harris, right? For all the people who say, "Oh my God, I cannot believe that Kamala Harris would have Meg Thee Stallion or Beyonce or Eminem at their rallies." And of course, he says he wasn't at the rally, but you're still in support of a president, right? You're talking about the office of president. You would do it regardless. I'll be honest with you. I wouldn't stand with either one of them because they don't stand with the American people. But of course, this comes with the illusion of thinking that, well, it's just an honor to be with the president. And it's like, well, if the president was Vladimir Putin, not, trying to say anything weird, but if it was Vladimir Putin, would you still do it? Right? What if the president was Andrew Jackson? You know what I'm saying? It just goes to show where the celebrity culture is pushed on us so much that I don't know, man. I just really don't think that we should have celebrities like this involved in our political processes like this. It reminds me of when we had on Chuck D, and he was invited by Antony Blinken to be part of this initiative to bring arts, right? And he's standing there with Antony Blinken, which we call Butcher Blinken, who also was helping spearhead the genocide that's going on in Gaza. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd be saying the same thing if he was doing this with Kamala Harris, because I'm like, Kamala Harris, you know how many people she did, how many lives she ruined in California as Attorney General? And you as a black man is going to stand there with her? I say the same thing about Donald Trump. Donald Trump has done some bad things in regards to black Americans. I don't care if he stood with Don King at fights. I don't care if he sat there and put his arm around rappers, right? Just because they did that don't mean that they actually stand with us in solidarity when it comes to our material conditions. It's the same thing with the Democratic Party and Republican Party. But the thing is, this is part of propaganda. This is part of propaganda really to get the Black American community or the hip hop community at large to go with either one side of the empire or the other side of the empire. Is actually really not to just be an entertainer. It's really to it's bread and circuses, man. It's part of swaying the masses. And that's basically what it is. Anyway, let's continue.
So if they can put their life on the line for whoever in office, I can damn sure perform for whoever.
What do you say to the people that say we're not giving you this backlash because of your political affiliation or your political choice or whatever? We're giving you this backlash because you are propping up a white supremacist.
I would ask them to show me where he's a white supremacist. And here's the thing. Okay, I get it. He did say, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, right? Oh no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him. Hold on. I'm trying to think. Hold on. He did create
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
He did create the crime bill in the 90s, which said that if you get caught with 5 grams of crack, you do a mandatory 5 years. That had mass incarceration. I think even the Vice President Kamala spoke on that part, that said that the crime bill played a huge part. No, he didn't do that. Let me see. What did he do? I'm trying to think. The white supremacist. Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. Okay, he did not rent to black people. What was it, in the 70s or the 80s? Is that what they said? And like, oh, okay, is he written to him now? So nobody's allowed to change, right? See, here's the thing.
Wait, Nelly. Hold on. Whoa, bro. Look, here's the thing. I'm not defending Joe Biden by any means, but if you say that people are allowed to change and yet you're not applying that to Joe Biden, because the 94 crime bill happened 30 years ago, right? What? Now, here's my thing. I am willing to hold people like Joe Biden and Donald Trump on the same plane because they're cut from the same cloth. So when it comes to white supremacy, I say they both are. So therefore, I ain't going with damn one of them. First of all. Second of all, I'm not even going with Kamala Harris because of what she did to black people in California. So are you going to stand and just say, you know what? I'm going to stay out of this. I'm going to stay out of this because they're both too toxic. Because they both support a system that exploits my people. But no, see, that's the issue where I feel like Nelly is lost in the sauce. And so he's saying he's not doing it for money. I'm like, you're going to get noticed more, which means, your sales when it comes to your downloads and stuff like that is going to get an uptick once people see you, in front of they see you in the rotunda. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to happen financially. It may not happen right then and there, but you'll get it on the back end. Let's be real.
So we can talk about past, but we never want to talk about our past. If our past get brought up in our community for a lot of what our men did, we always call it rehabilitation. Yo, these young brothers, we've been through a lot. I know I've been through a lot. If my past was what was going to prevent me from winning today, I wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that he ain't got some fucked up ways. That's not what I'm saying at all. That's why I'm not telling you who to vote for. But what I'm saying is that he's the president of the United States. He's not the candidate for the United States. He's the president. He won.
So there's Nelly there saying what he said. Now I want to go into Now I want to go into Snoop Dogg. Because Snoop said something back in the day. I want to take you guys back. This is back in time. We're going back in time. Okay. Is this it? Oh, nope. That's not where I wanted to go. I didn't want to go there. Oop. That. So let's get into this. I hope you guys remember this.
I don't apologize, man, because a lot of my fans get mad at me when I talk bad about him, but I don't. I think it's safe to say most people in our culture do not.
Well, you need to know that. You need to know that a lot of your fans is racist. Ain't no fucking way around. Don't even try to put no.
I don't even want to put anything around.
I do. I don't give a fuck. I tell him straight up, motherfucker. If you like that nigga, you motherfucking racist. Fuck you and fuck him. Now what?
All right.
Draw the line, nigga. He drew the lines.
Exactly.
He drew the motherfucking lines. Before him, there were no lines. Everybody was everybody. We respected everything. We didn't trip. But nigga, when you drew the line, nigga, start pointing motherfuckers out and saying, nigga, fuck y'all then, nigga.
Yeah, that's how I feel.
You and them.
If you're just tuning in, we're
talking
Kanye
about
too,
nigga. Don't forget about him too. Fuck you.
That's what he said about even Trump supporters, right? So what now? What now is going on? It's quite a bit of a difference, because he said that about Donald Trump, but now him and Rick Ross at Donald Trump's crypto ball in DC. Let's go.
My mother say, Rose, man, you playing to win tonight, man. You sharp as mosquitoes, nigga. What's going down? That's that crypto, see? They let a real crip up in the crypto ball. Ooh. Bang, bang. My mother say, Rose, man, you playing to win tonight, man. You sharp as mosquitoes, nigga. What's going down? That's that crypto, see? They let a real crip up in the crypto ball. Ooh. Bang, bang.
What in the hell? Flip, flop, rock, tit, top, stop. I'm just saying, Snoop, what are you doing? My question is, like, why would you? But could it be about notoriety? About getting some more fame on the back end? Let me see this. Let's see what he has to say here.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? I'll be the one that performs for himself. Go out there and do a
And here's the thing. Two things can be true at the same time. Joe Biden can be racist, and yes, he is. I still consider him one. And Donald Trump is racist? Yeah. It's really the hallmark of presidents for the most part. And so, when it comes to all the people who are going to be supporting Donald Trump, this gives more. The crazy part is this gives more Black people permission. I'm saying permission in air quotes because, some Black people are not going to, and Black people really don't need permission. But some are going to feel more comfortable with expressing their support because now it's becoming more freely available to support somebody like him. And the thing is, it's like whether racism was a red line or whether genocide wasn't a red line, now a lot of people are saying, well, they're kind of, it is what it is. We might as well. And it's like you had your principles back then, but now you're just, you're easing up on them. It's crazy, man. So let me share this because I want to get into this. Let's have a conversation, yo.
Snoop and Nelly are going to be at this thing.
Okay.
And I think it really does beg the question whether the culture is starting to thaw to Donald Trump. I mean, are they?
About time.
I don't know. I don't
About
think so.
time.
We definitely saw a lot of people, Sexy Red, others say, he sent me a check, so I'm good with him, the stimulus check. And I understand that there is that crew of people who are like, the stimmy check came, I like him now. Snoop and Nelly in particular are apolitical people and apolitical artists. Like you see Snoop with Martha Stewart, he's like, I fly over, I want everyone to like me. I think this is more about capitalism than politics.
Hang on. Wait. Let's go back on that, Torre. You said they're apolitical.
Everyone to like me. He's like, I fly over, I want everyone to like me.
Wait. What did he say about Trump supporters? He said, F all y'all, right? He didn't care about that. Oh, he didn't get political? Wait, when he talked about, he said F Kanye? What the hypocrisy? See, this is why I subscribe to what people like Malcolm X said. Malcolm X talked about how, these people who are considered to be our leaders, they're not our leaders. These people are the entertainment. They're the bread and circuses, right? These are the ones that we should not be subscribed to listening to as being the ones that we follow. Ultimately, because it's about getting the bag. That's all it's about. If it was about actually sticking to your morals, they would sit it out. For instance, the whole DEI argument, right? If it was about actually implementing diversity, equity, inclusion, then all these companies would have followed the same principle as like a Costco, where they said, we're not touching our DEI program. We're keeping it. We don't care what y'all say. Now, I'm not saying that Costco is this all great and wonderful company, but what I'm saying is that if you are dedicated to the principle, then you would have stuck with it. But because the trend is going into a different direction, then guess what they do? They leave it behind so that they can make that bread. Because it's about the bread. It's not about anything else. It's not about the morals. It's not about the ethics. It's about the money. That's what happens in capitalism. They will move where the wind blows. Any way the wind blows doesn't really matter to me. That's how it goes. Because they're easy come, easy go, little high, little low. That's the problem. Because when it comes to the actual exploitation of people, it's like, it's not my fight. Let's continue.
I think this is more about capitalism than politics. Somebody said, Snoop, it's the crypto ball. We got $250 for you or $150 for one night. Come do 10 songs, 6 songs, whatever. Yeah, I'm there, homie. Nelly, the same thing.
There are a lot of rappers who have sided with Donald Trump for all kinds of. He pardoned several of them.
Giving away pardons.
He was
giving away pardons to people, and that's why they were.
But I mean, what's going on there? What is it about these particular?
These are not the intellectuals of hip hop. These are not except for Kanye. These are typically not political people at all. Like like I said, there's some in the hood. There's this notion of he's tough. He gave us money, right? They're not.
I was reminded also, I mean, back in the 80s, Donald Trump.
Hang on, talk about the whole thing about he gave us money. Let me say this. A lot of people are actually going back and saying that our financial situations, our economic situations was actually better underneath Donald Trump. And the problem is that they're right. It's quite unfortunate, but that's actually the truth, is that the economic situation, your dollar went further under Donald Trump than it went under Joe Biden. But that's not necessarily because Donald Trump is just a better, has better economic policies. Part of it is because a lot of what had happened was inflation just was starting to intensify towards the end of his administration, and then started to ramp up during the Biden administration. A lot of the decisions that Donald Trump had made started to take more effect during the Biden administration. Biden administration also kept a lot of the same policies, economic policies, that Donald Trump has had in place. So therefore, we're also going to feel that during the second Donald Trump presidency. And then in the next presidency after 2028, we're also going to continue to still feel the same economic policies that Donald Trump will further put in from between now and 2028. With that being said, is that more people, more working class people, are going to continue to suffer. Dudes in the hood are actually just looking out for their financial interests. And so they're going to the person who actually did a little bit better at the time. Let me be real with you. If there was a third term for Barack Obama's, presidency, we actually did even better under him, in some ways, right? If you want to go to how far the dollar went, between 2000 and 2004, or 2000, right before the 2008 crash, then you can say that George W. Bush, we actually were doing a lot more better between 2000 and 2004, right? If you want to go back even further than that, we were doing way better under Clinton. But here's the thing, ultimately, is that they all help progressively make our situation, our material conditions worse. So they're actually not for the working class people. The problem is that we're always trying to chase somebody that was just a little less worse. And that's the problem. And so this is what a lot of people, particularly Black men, were trying to find somebody that gave us just a little bit more bang for our buck. The issue is that that person who we're trying to say that they're going to give us a little bit more bang for our buck was not actually trying to do that. They were actually in the process of making our situation worse. And the thing is like they will, and they're going to wake up, because whether it was Kamala Harris that was voted in, or whether it's Donald Trump that is now going to be sworn in tomorrow, is that they're going to realize that they're no different than the rest. And so then what's going to happen is we're going to get somebody else who's going to scapegoat other people, and they're going to continue to do more for the billionaires in this country by the time we hit 2028. And that's the sad part about the system. And, we can clock it. We can, look at our watches by it. But let me continue here.
And it also, back in the 80s, Donald Trump was, at the boxing matches. He was with Don King. He was in a different place in the culture. He went into the 90s as the subject of rap songs. And just, Gail, I know you're not a rap expert, but
I am definitely not
a rap expert, but something happened in this election, maybe, where because of his victory, all the business people were like, you know what? Trump is no longer politically toxic. And some of these folks are making the exact same calculation on the music side as well.
They are doing exactly that. And it is an honor. It's an honor to be able to sing at an inauguration. It's an honor to be able to sing at one of the balls. It's an honor. I have a daughter who's a singer, and she was on American Idol, one of the finalists.
Yes, that's right. I remember that.
And she was asked to sing at a convention. And she lost so many friends and so many fans because she agreed to sing.
Wow.
And I just think it's time for entertainers to get out of politics and entertain.
Well, they're getting into politics.
Wow.
Okay,
Shut up and dribble. Wow. I didn't think we were going to go there.
Well, Keith, what would you say? If Snoop were sitting right here at this table, what would you tell him?
Well, I had a disagreement with Snoop, I think, a year or two ago. Something he endorsed Rick Caruso.
Did you tell him?
He was supporting Rick Caruso, the for mayor of Los Angeles, who I disagree with. And I I stated that publicly as well. But I think that a lot of these rappers are not the intellectuals in the community, as Teray was pointing out, but it's also a dishonor to the Black community.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at Donald Trump, the man who would refuse to rent to Black people in the 1970s, who tried to lead a lynch mob against 5 Black and brown kids in the 1980s for the Central Park case, who refused to allow Black casino workers to have a prominent place in his casinos in Atlantic City in the 1990s, who spent 5.5 years lying about Barack Obama's birth certificate in the 2000s, who came into office and then attacked Black people like Colin Kaepernick, who attacked Ruby Freeman and her daughter Shay Moss for simply doing their jobs as Fulton County election workers. You dishonor those people when you go and perform for this man who has done nothing but dishonor Black people. And just last year, he was calling Haitian immigrants, accusing them of eating cats and dogs. This is not somebody that Black people should be associated with and pretending to normalize. We should be challenging him. And it dishonors the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., whose birthday we honor on Monday, to celebrate this man.
So hang on. Let's go back to Keith Boykin after he said all that, right? Hang on. Oop.
To celebrate this man.
Okay.
To celebrate this.
Keith Boykin, former Clinton White House aide. So here's my thing I want to also bring out. Yes, two things can be true at the same time. That it is a travesty, right? It is an insult to the Black community for people like Nelly and Snoop Dogg and Rick Ross to perform with Donald Trump. But it is equally also just as a slap in the face to the Black community for people to perform for people like Joseph Robinette Biden, the same person who eulogized Strom Thurmond, who also was a out and out white supremacist, the guy who did not support busing, the same guy that wrote the 94 crime bill. See, here's the thing. We're sitting here and going, who's worse of a racist, when in reality, we should not be parsing who's the worst racist. We should be just walking away from both of them, from both parties. The same thing, we should be walking away from people like Kamala Harris for what she did against Black community. Keith Boykin, the same guy that was an aide to the Clintons, the same Clintons that used prison slave labor when he was governor of Arkansas, that same Clinton, the same Clinton that called Hillary Clinton, that called basically a Black community super predators. Are we really going to go there? Are we going to measure which one's more racist? When in reality, we should be walking away from both of these parties because both of these parties don't do a damn thing for the Black community. Both of these parties don't do a damn thing for us. Let me ask you this. Which party is really spearheading reparations for freedmen? Don't worry, I'll wait. Which party is literally trying to take away funds from police and actually give it to us, to the community, so that we can alleviate poverty, so that we don't have that poverty that leads to further crime? You can't look at Trump and say, oh, well, they're trying to, we need to divest away from police and actually start giving it to the local communities. No, Trump would never do that. And Biden would never do that either. The George Floyd Policing Act funneled billions and billions of dollars into local police so that they can continue to keep kneeling in our necks, shooting us in our backs, and hitting us in our heads with their billy clubs. But this is the problem with the partisan politics. And they will always defend one side of the exploitation class or the exploiter class over the other side of the exploiter class, when in reality, all exploiters deserve that smoke. This is the problem. And so this is why I kept saying, whether you supported Donald Trump or Kamala Harris, you were supporting deplorable, ugly human beings, because you have one that was a racist and one that was a genocider. There's really no choice. Therefore, you know who we have to choose? We have to choose ourselves, because we cannot stand with either. And we also cannot follow and listen to these celebrities when they decide to sit there behind these people who prop up the exploiters as they try to collect the crumbs behind them, because that's going to help them to maintain their lifestyle. Nelly and Snoop Dogg are rich. Of course they're going to try to maintain that lifestyle. Of course they're going to kiss up to power, right? A lot of these artists are. Beyonce is kissing up to power, right? Meg Thee Stallion kissing up to power. Eminem is kissing up to power. All these guys, they're all kissing up to power just so that they can maintain that same lifestyle, because they think that because they've done the hard work that they deserve to be where they're at. When in reality, we all deserve to have a home, healthcare, housing, living wage, but they're supporting the people who don't think so. But that's the thing. And my anticipation for what's going to happen tomorrow is that it's going to be boring. The only thing that's not going to be boring is the people who are going to be out in the streets, who are going to be protesting. But my thing is like, okay, you guys can be protesting, but what about you guys protesting the genocide that's happening, that in Gaza that was happening? Or what about all these people that are out in the streets right now in Washington, D.C., who have not been protesting the cop cities that are being built throughout this country that are really going to be, impacting those of us who are mostly marginalized, especially a lot of us Black Americans? Where were you guys when that was happening? Also, right, what's, like, why aren't we out in the streets, since what allegedly Luigi did and fighting against this healthcare catastrophe that we're going through within this country? Why aren't we out in the streets when in 2024, the homelessness rate went up 18% in 2024 and went up another 12% in 2023, thus making it so that almost 40% uptick in homelessness that's happened in this country? Why aren't we doing that? Because this is all about partisan politics. That's all it's about. It's symbolic. And we're done with symbolism. Symbolism has gotten us nowhere. And so what we really need to be doing is doing mutual aid, getting out into these streets, and actually building dual power, because we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. We're not going to follow the celebrities anymore. And we're not going to go, oh, well, Democrat versus Republican, right versus left. No, baby, we got to go up versus down, top versus bottom, 99% versus 1%. That's what we have to do. And unfortunately, some of these artists that were supporting either Kamala Harris or Donald Trump are part of that 10% or 1%. Some of these people are so rich that they have more money than they know what to do with, on all to support a lifestyle that they continue to enjoy. Some of these people are going to stand in our way when it comes to actually fighting for the working class. They're letting you know who they are. Keep an eye on who's against you. It could be a Jay-Z and a Beyonce, or it could be a Kodak Black and a Snoop Dogg. But they've already let you know who they stand with. Keep your eyes open. Go ahead and like the stream. Let's get into the chats. All right. Let's go into the Rumble. The Rumble? The Rumble. The Rumble. All right. Thank you very much for this Rumble rant. Jimmy Apple says, RBN up, JB up, Nick up, Savvy up, Rome up. Your generation's Walter Cronkite. We need this. Never stop and thank you. Thank you very much for that, Jimmy Apples. Appreciate it. That was very sweet of you. Also, this Jimmy Apples says, which party is trying to conflate voicing dissenting ideas into a form of terrorism? That's a good question. That is a very good question. Yeah, trick question. Of course. Let's get into the Rockfin. Oh Lord, I can't wait to hear what Roger has to say about this. Roger. Oh my goodness, you good, Roger? I hope you go off. I hope you go off. Okay, in the New York accent. Roger says, Nelly, you are not supposed to put your life on the line to support a president, but to protect the U.S. Constitution. But to be honest, this won't even be an issue come Tuesday. Will Nelly's downloads get an uptick after this? I don't know. Maybe from people who are more, on the right. I don't know. But I think that's probably what's going to happen. He's probably going to get a bit of an uptick, which will be good for his bottom line. I mean, that's what I think. Thank you very much for that. Let's go into the rest of the chat here. Roger says CBI's true vehicle to bring together on paper issue basis. Thank you very much for that. James Stark says, all power to RBN and JB. Another great show. Please like and subscribe and share. Become an RBN member. Thank you very much for that, James Starks. From one James to another. All right. Lauren says, Nelly, Ricky, and Snoop have been dishonoring themselves and Black people, culture, and values way before ignorant performance. I would not invite any of them to a diarrhea party. Ooh. Damn. Oh my goodness. People going off. All right. Killer Tomato says rap snitchers telling all their business. Yeah. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna start that. We're gonna come back to that, Huey. But that's a really good point. Breakup Google says she's right. Entertainers who get involved in politics are essentially losing half their audience because of how polarized the serfs are. Yeah, I wouldn't do any of it because I wouldn't want to be a divide between my listeners, for some listeners to stop listening to me and some to start. I mean, if I am going to stand, I'm going to stand with the workers. Like, the fuck? What a Maniac says there should be no Black community, just community. Unfortunately, because of the system that we have that has established white supremacy and that has marginalized us, of course, we have to have a Black community because of the disparities that have been put in place for the last 400 years. So, of course, there has to be a Black community because the thing is that we're constantly being tread over because of this system. Now, I would like for it to just be community, but until then, of course, there has to be some repair that has to take place within that community. So, yeah. Let me see. James Stark says Don King was a crook to all his fighters. Well, yep. You say that Don King and Donald Trump were thick as thieves. Rondo says bigotry as a rule should be a non-starter. You know what I'm saying? David says Democrat Republican war party equals AIPAC equals IMF. Rich says not a peep of clear criticism from Clyburn, Buttigieg, Obama Klobuchar, they tried to force Biden down our throats. Yeah, no. Unfortunately, you're right. They did definitely try to force them down our throats. David says, by remaining dependent on this fake ass colonizer money, we are on a conveyor belt with a wood chipper at the end. See, this is why I appreciate artists like Slank. I had him on my channel last week because he's actually about the workers, not about, like, you know, Democrat or Republican. That's why I appreciate people like them. Walter's Grave said, let me in now. Let me in now. Bill Gates, Donald Trump, let me in now. Sin. I'm going down, down, baby. You're street a rainbow. What rainbow? What are you talking about, Nelly? You talking about rainbow? Watch some people on the right be like, what do you mean rainbow? Boom, boom, baby. Ready to let it go. Shake it, Cocoa Pop. Listen to me now. Anyway, let me stop. Oh my gosh. If I start, let me see. Jace Hart says Low-Key is the only rapper worth a damn. There's a few. Yasin Bey, formerly known as Mos Def. There's a lot of underground rappers that are actually really worth a damn. It's just they don't get enough attention because they actually don't serve the system, right? So they're out there. We gotta look for them, you know. La Senora says, JB, how come immigrants from India and East Asia are okay to come in, but Latino immigrants are not? Aren't Indians people of color as well? So Latino immigrants are okay. I'm going to try to make this very short because I have my other thing to come in. So the thing is like, it's not necessarily if East Asian immigrants and Indian immigrants are more okay. It depends on, number one, their economic standing. Number two, it depends on their ideology. Number three, it also depends on how, you know, they're standing when it comes to American culture. Do they have enough money and status in order to be able to wait for the time it takes to be able to come into the country legally? It's all these different factors. So here's the thing. It's like the immigrants from India and East Asia are okay if they have a degree, right? If they have the ability to pay to be able to get here, right? See, the really poor ones that can't really afford to come here, that would have solidarity with those of us who are of poor and working class, they're not able to actually come here. It's the same thing why, like, some Latinos who are able to save the money and actually come here legally and wait their turn because they're in a better financial position, who want to come here, they're also able to come through, right? They're not blocked from coming through. This is why you have especially a lot of Cubans, a lot of white Cubans, they're able to come in. Yeah, it's because of that. So it's not necessarily pushing, you know, East Asians and Indians against people who are Latino. It's really about a class issue. And then the ones who do come in are typically the ones who are the lower class. And those are the ones who are allowed to come in because they are exploitable, just like the East Asians and the Indians are allowed to come here through the H-1B visa so they could be exploited from the big tech companies. So everybody's really being exploited. But the problem is that there's this talk now against the Latinos, but ultimately it's all goes down to just exploitation of all peoples. I probably didn't explain that the best way, but probably because I'm hungry. But I hope I Roger says a new rock fan. Let me do that really quick, and then we'll get into. Oh gosh, what in the hell, Roger? Okay, let me go into this because it's 2:20. It's 3:21. I gotta go. Let me see. Beware of those who use the commonality of race to get behind them in supporting Black business. They're Black business just so that they can be your exploiter, equivalent to Clayton Bigsby saying, if anyone's going to have sex with my sister, it's going to be me. In this case, if anyone's going to exploit my people, it's going to be me. Simple fact of the matter, all these presidents were racist. Lincoln too. Yep. That's why all skin folk ain't kinfolk. All right. So one thing I want to share before I get into, because I'm short on time. So just to let everybody know, if you guys remember, as of last year, there was an invitation from Dr. Jill Stein and Shama Sawant for us to come to Seattle for an event for us to be there for organizing outside of the two-party system, organizing outside of electoral politics. Well, I would like to go to this event. I know Nick is trying to go to that event. Sabby won't be able to, unfortunately, because, you know, she has some family events that are happening around that time. But I would like to go. And so it's going to be February 22nd, and I would like to go. Unfortunately, being somebody, myself being on a fixed income, I cannot necessarily afford to go to Seattle from Orlando, Florida. So I would like to see, if possible, if, you know, I can fundraise to be able to go to Seattle. And I'd only be spending that really short weekend because, number one, I can't afford to, and I don't want to spend too much of people's money to go there and spend that long there. But secondly, also, I'm a dialysis patient and I want to get back to Orlando to be able to have my dialysis treatments. With that being said, I'm going to share this with you guys. I'm also raising money on Spot Fund to be able to go to Seattle. So the Seattle Organizing Conference. So here on Spot Fund, I'm raising funds. My goal is $1,900 to go to Seattle so that I can be able to, go there, share ideas, as well as, organize for for our communities. Wait, did it share? And so if you guys would like to donate, it's deeply appreciated. I will share this also in the Rumble as well, if you guys want to share that as well, and on the Rockfin. But yes, I'm trying to get out there to share ideas. Also, this is going to be Worker Strike Back. And I want to hammer home while I'm there the importance of worker cooperatives and pushing for that. I also want to hammer home on the issues regarding pushing for, the unification of workers and building dual power and mutual aid while I'm out there. And so that's what I'm going to be trying to do while I'm there. And so let me just read this here. It says, hello, my name is James Fauntleroy, and I'm an activist, organizer, host, and commentator. I was invited to an organizing conference in Seattle, Washington by Dr. Jill Stein and Shama Sawant with Worker Strike Back to come together to share ideas and build and create a movement to push for worker power within the U.S. so we can have a more fair and egalitarian country. Being on a fixed income is tough, and I need help to get there. I want to be able to contribute my unique voice to assist in organizing for the working and poor people in this country so that we can have something better than what the two major parties promise us every 2 to 4 years. We need change and improvement now. We recognize these politicians will not save us, so we have to take our future into our own hands. I hope to be able to attend on February 22nd, 2025, and I will return promptly afterwards so I can get back to my dialysis treatment. I appreciate any contribution to this trip so that I can help more people. I hope you all have a peaceful and wonderful day. So, of course, yes, I'll be pushing for that so that I can get there. It is a little bit over a month from now, so I appreciate any and all contributions to me being able to go to Seattle. So thank you so very much for that as well, people. Thank you. All right, so we're going to go to our last story. Let me make this very quick. We're going to go into the TikTok ban. So let's share this right now. So as we know, they were threatening to ban TikTok, and they were successful. In fact, before midnight last night, TikTok actually went dark. It was sad. A lot of people were upset. And so I want to get into that. TikTok has actually went dark. People have, been sharing all over social media that TikTok has been saying, sorry, TikTok isn't available right now. A U.S. law banning TikTok has been enacted in the U.S. And it says, unfortunately, that means you can't use TikTok for now. The funny part was in the picture, they said, we are fortunate that President Trump has indicated that he will work with us on a solution to reinstate TikTok once he takes office. Please stay tuned. And that's the funny part, right? The fact that it says that is now trying to credit Trump with trying to reverse the TikTok ban, which part of me feels like it won't happen, but another part of me is like, it may. But I just, I'm of the opinion that Trump actually wanted the TikTok ban to go through. I don't foresee that it will continue, that it will be reversed. But if it does, then okay. But that's just a looming thing. Like it's going to happen again. Like that time is going to get ran out. And so that's exactly what's been happening. And now a lot of people have been going on to Xiaohongshu, also known as Red Note. There's been many people who have been traversing over there, interacting with a lot of people from China, which has been really interesting. This has not just been TikTok, but also TikTok's sister app called Lemon 8. So Lemon 8 as well has also been banned, as well as CapCut, which I saw as well. Savvy actually informed me about that. Either Savvy or Zoya, but they informed me about CapCut as well. So it says, sorry, Lemon 8 isn't available right now. Basically says the same thing regarding Trump hopefully being able to reinstate it once he gets into office. And to be honest with you, I don't see it because Mark Zuckerberg is deeply invested in TikTok not existing because he wants Meta to have as much of the market share as possible. So, and what is this about? This is ultimately about, this isn't about China. This is about people who were on TikTok really spreading the truth about what was happening in Gaza because of the dealings of Israel. The ADL has made it abundantly clear that they did not want the truth about what Israel was doing to come about. And so because of TikTok, people were just finding out more about the truth about what was going on. And so therefore now TikTok has went black, unfortunately, all because of a foreign country that just didn't like their dirty laundry being aired. That's really what this is about. And we have, we're looking at these countries like Israel that are basically influencing our government into doing policy that literally essentially takes away our free speech, our access to free speech, and the democratization of information. So with that being said, let me just share with you guys this. And of course, I got to make this very quick because I have a meeting that I have to get to. But let me try to open up TikTok, right? So here's TikTok here, right? Kind of bright. Sorry. So this is this. Let me go here. Okay, something there. Let me see. Is it going to go third? Uh-oh. Is it working that?
Oh boy. I'm so disappointed this app didn't get banned. What do you mean? You already have access to it on the same day it was supposed to be banned. I was really hoping we'd get a good 48 hours to be a week of TikTok, because a lot of you need a fucking detox from social media.
Told you. I told you. TikTok has 170 million Americans. It's infinitely more popular than Congress. It's more popular than most things in this country. It's more popular than voting. It would be far
I guess it's back
for our incompetent Congress to fully successfully ban this application with 7 million small businesses on it.
Ni hao. Oh my God, TikTok is back up. Block it. Before you do anything else, before you get to your regular Sunday doom scrolling, block this page right now. I'll go first.
I just want to let you know that what you've done for me, I cannot express my gratitude enough for.
Oh, by the way, them banning TikTok is them banning the bread and the circuses simultaneously.
So apparently it's back. I'm just finding this out. We're live, folks. So I don't know. It's interesting. This is weird. Like, does the Supreme Court actually have the power that it does, or I don't know, guys. But look, this is crazy. But everybody's still on Red Note, and that Pandora's box has been open, and they can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. So we'll see. I don't know, but hopefully, I actually want to see TikTok still there. It's just I also don't want to see the American, influence of, content regulation from American influence corporations, regulating it. But fortunately, a lot of businesses are still going to be able to, function. So we'll see. But let me go to the chat really quick. And if you guys have not, please make sure to like this stream. Appreciate it very much. All right. So Huey said Trump wanted to ban TikTok in 2020. Americans have selective amnesia. Yeah. It's kind of crazy how, they wanted to ban TikTok, but, yeah. And Krista says Meta Blackout starts today. I still say Blackout Meta because, this wouldn't have happened if ADL and the Zionists in Israel and, Mark Zuckerberg didn't try to lobby in order to get rid of TikTok, right? They're the reason why. Oh yeah. And it said the first link, Seven Rockfin, peep it when you get to the story. Oh my gosh. And then, oh geez. All right. So this says TikTok is restoring service. Thanks, Trump. Gosh. Oh my gosh. So now he's going to take credit for this. And now people are going see and this is part of the partisan politics, right? TikTok is restoring service. So it says TikTok on Sunday said it's restoring its service after President-elect Donald Trump said he will revive the app's access in the U.S. when he returns to power on Monday. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the U.S. So TikTok has also issued an earlier statement. So it says in agreement with our service provider, TikTok is in the process of restoring service. So yeah, this is interesting. This is developing news. So apparently the blackout is over and it's only been a few hours. Well, that's that. All right, everybody. Let me see. Got it, Roger. And also, I wanted to go back to this. I wonder if I can go back to it. There was a. Yeah, I'm not going to able. I don't have time to really discuss this too much. But as far as this Rumble rant, what are your thoughts on Red Book? I actually like it a lot. It's pretty awesome. And I think that if you would like to, I think you should download it and use it and interact with Chinese people so that you can get the real deal, so that you will not be propagandized from China, from the United States. China really is opening the door, and people are very kind. They are very accommodating. So look, go ahead and take a look at that. Can't see a link to donate, Krista. There you go. I'll place that there. Hopefully it shows up there. But yes, so guys, thank you so very much. We're going to end with the shout out to the patrons. Unfortunately, I have to get going, but water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. Do all the things if you got them. Forehead kisses. I will see you guys in the next one, and take care and have a beautiful